Hello, everyone. Welcome to Global Government News. Today is Monday, November 21st, 2011, and I'm Darko. My website is ggnonline.com, ggnonline.com, and on YouTube, I have a YouTube page with a bunch of playlists going back 2 years. It's ddarko 2012. Also, Global Government News has a group on Facebook, over 120 members. If you'd like to join, the link will be posted in YouTube's video description along with the Twitter account. And all the headlines and links for today will be in YouTube's video description. A lot of time I put into posting those links, converting the links to shorter links, and then with the headlines putting them in there. So I advise you to check them out. Usually with GGN here, I'll go through the headlines. I don't go and read all this, every story, every article, the full article. I kind of go through the brief headlines and give my commentary. And I recommend to go check out the links. Okay, so I'm not sure how my volume is doing right now. I'm looking at the gauge right now, and it's actually a lot lower than what it normally is. So if you're having a problem, please just turn up the volume on your computer, and that will probably fix it, because I can't fix it right now. All right, so I'll finish up with articles that I had from last video. So we'll start off with this, and we'll go into eugenics and the economy. So, is the economy the best birth control? U.S. births dip again. It says here the economy may well be the best form of birth control. You think? It says here U.S. births drop for the third straight year, especially for young mothers. And experts think money worries are the reason. So, we've talked about what social engineering and actually using the economy because people literally can't afford to feed their family, right? They can barely feed themselves with the wages that they have, and then they don't have enough to even have children, or those children to be able to have children, in the following generation. They won't be able to sustain or feed them. This is not because it's too many people. This is because, like I've said before, it's all of the resources aren't being allocated efficiently, and that's on purpose. Because you have to remember that you've never really been totally free. You've always had the same group for the past 1,000+ years, basically behind the scenes controlling society and culture and everything. And so one of the things that they have besides vaccines and Planned Parenthood is the economy. And so here it just goes to show you that it was what 11. It was the lowest birth count in 11 years, I believe. So, and moving on here, newborn. So, if you are able to actually have a child, eventually you're going to have to go to the state, the government, to receive authorization to procreate based on your DNA. So, we have here National Conference of State Legislation. Check out this link: newborn genetic and metabolic disease screening. So, it's kind of like with the economy and how everything, or the global government, and how the NAU and the EU, it's all set up based off trade. They use everything in the guise of trade to basically to destroy nations and to build and integrate and centralize power into fewer and fewer hands. This is another way that these people, this group of eugenicists roll, which is what? They want to get DNA from your child when they're born at the hospital, and they've actually been doing it. Bush passed a law some time ago, and baby's blood and blood has been drawn. Mothers not even knowing that their DNA is being drawn from that and put into a database, and you have to opt out of it, and it's very hard and it's tricky because it's supposed to be. So what I'm getting at here is that this disease screening is the reason that most mothers are being told for the taking of their blood, which will be used for genetics, not so that they can really help them, right? So that they could avoid allowing them to procreate. That's where this is going. It's not because they give a shit about you, the health industry or the government. They don't. Their track record is horrible, and so you don't have to believe what I'm saying. You just have to look at the evidence, which is more. So many people have been hurt and damaged physically and mentally, emotionally from these two groups. So you can go and trust them if you want and get your DNA put in a database. But eventually, even to a certain degree now, you don't even own your DNA. Your DNA is patented by these companies. So that's where it's going. It's pretty scary stuff. Keep moving here. Supreme Court blocks government plan to claim ownership of DNA. So remember, I was talking about this. So the Minnesota court ruled Wednesday that the Minnesota Department of Health is violating the law in storing, using, and disseminating newborn screening test results and newborn data. And this is the actual thing. Go in there and check that out. Right here, state of Minnesota in the Supreme Court. So, but the Genetic Privacy Act says here restricts the collection, use, storage, dissemination of blood samples collected pursuant to newborn screening statutes. And you can go in there and check that out. So it's pretty tricky wording that they have. The newborn screening statutes provide an express exception to the Genetic Privacy Act. But basically saying that they're going to go ahead and do this unless you opt out, maintaining a registry of positive cases for the purpose of follow-up services, i.e. You can't have a child again. And I know this isn't happening now, but like I said, this is what is in our future if everything plays out. It says here, and storing those test results as required by federal law. Okay, moving on here. We have next, scientists at MIT replicate brain activity with chips. Scientists are getting closer to the dream of creating computer systems that can replicate the brain. And I don't know how much further I have to go with this, but it says the chips could eventually enable communication between artificially created body parts and the brain. And moving on here. Oh, okay, so just like everything else, it's what? You don't want to lose your child or your dog, so you better get an RFID chip, right? So it says that these chips are going to help people that have basically mechanical or computerized body parts. Now, this is what I've gone into. It's like what is the percentage until you're a cyborg? So if you want to go that route, then go ahead and call yourself a cyborg because you should have been dead already or disabled, right? So it's good if you want to do this, but just remember that that this is something that hasn't even really been debated yet. This is just moving forward because most of the hoopleheads, the sheeple, don't even care about this. They don't even care. They don't want to talk about it. They'd rather talk about bullshit things in Thanksgiving and Christmas. I'm so sick of Christmas and Thanksgiving. I'm not going to Thanksgiving. I don't give a shit about Christmas because it's going to be talking about the same crap, right? You're all going to be talking about the same fucking crap. Twilight, football, the economy, my uncles and that with their bond traders and the head of a steel factory. They're gonna be talking about Democrats and blah blah blah, playing into the same crap two-party system stuff, right? Instead of talking about this, debating about whether you'd go into a cyborg, and it says it could pave the way for artificial intelligence devices. Well, that's what it's for. So just like everything else, it's going to help these poor disabled people, right? Which ultimately, geneticists don't give a fuck about you. And in fact, they'd rather just go ahead and kill you because what? Either you're useless eater or what? You're just useless. So, as far as genetically, you're inferior to them. So you can just go. Right? Just like they did in World War II where that wasn't just Germany, it wasn't just Hitler, it didn't come from Hitler. Hitler adopted it from the powers that be, from the eugenicists, right? From the Rockefellers and all of them. That's who we got it from, and from the United States. It's called, they called it euthanasia. But AI, guys, that's what it's all about. It says here, robots attempt record-breaking Pacific Ocean voyage. It says 4 robots have set out on an epic 33,000 nautical mile journey across the Pacific Ocean. Then next up, we have ready for the robot revolution. Robots are about to invade our lives, from performing household chores to entertaining and educating our children. Now, these are things that people used to do. Human interaction, right? Household chores. If I have the time, I enjoy sweeping. I enjoy cleaning. It's like therapy for me. I like cleaning. You know what I'm saying? Not just because I was in the Marine Corps, because I like it. And, rearranging stuff. To entertaining and educating, re-educating, brainwashing. Yeah, in other words, programming. Look at to programming, that's brainwashing, right? Programming, and then educating, which is re-education, indoctrination into the system. By what? For your children, by robots. So no homeschool, definitely not that, or re-education camps, to looking after the elderly, right? Because the eugenicists give a shit about the elderly too. Roboticists say we will soon be welcoming their creations into our homes and workplaces. Well, I'm not. Yeah, the closest I get is the computer and that. So it says here, from spoiled British teen to Amish girl, it says how living with America's strictest Christian sect changed a party mad 18-year-old. No Facebook, mobile phone, no makeup, no parties. And it goes on here, it says this sounds like teenage torture, right? And it says here that she was a pampered life with her parents for 6 weeks, living in a rural Amish community in Middlefield, Ohio. It says the strict Christians, memorably portrayed in the film Witness, which is a good movie, are famous for their simple living, plain clothes, and reluctance to adopt 20th century conveniences like cars and electric light. Their life ethic is hard work, community, and prayer. So Charlotte from Devon goes on here, and I think it says, she says that she's a university student, and here's the pictures of her right there, without all that caked up makeup and stuff like that. Basically, her face, I guess you can say. So she goes and says, but before she went to live with the Amish, she's never washed a plate, done the laundry, or cooked a meal. It sounds incredible, but it's true. My parents did everything for me. She goes on and says her routine started at 5 a.m. when the sun came up, and said, we girls cooked the breakfast, and then the guys would come down and we'd eat together. I never cooked at home. And she said the women did the chores while the boys worked on the land and looked after the animals. And hey guys, look at this. I was just talking about this. I never thought housework would have made me as happy as it did. From a very young age, Amish children do chores. It creates a lovely family bond and means they work well as a unit and respect each other. It says, and you don't have to worry about whether your hair is perfect or your clothes are stylish enough. Everyone's accepted. It says here, finishing up, and I'll move on, guys. The Amish men, too, were so different to the boys at home, so respectful and honest. Instead of rushing to try and kiss you, they were interested in getting to know who you are inside. So just for time's sake, because I got to move on and finish up here, guys. Home for the holidays, how Americans' view of family has changed. So we know that the eugenicists have basically broken the family apart into shambles, and society reflects the family. The society is morally bankrupt. The family is morally bankrupt. That's how the family has changed, and they're going to get together this Thanksgiving and Christmas, and like I said, they're going to talk about bullshit. That's going to be like South Park for me. Crap is just going to be flying, shooting out of their mouths, right? UPS, FedEx to raise shipping rates. Then we have this. Gunman fatally shoots himself at Illinois FedEx. Okay, and he wasn't an employee there. Man attacks wife in fit of jealousy after she kissed women he had brought home to join in a threesome. Now, this is what? This is programming. So you have the isolation programming, vigilante programming, and you have that. Grandmother tortured for PIN code. Said man tortured a pensioner with a knife for a credit card PIN number and then beat her to death with her own marble rolling pin, a court heard. Then grandmother beaten, tied up in home invasion. Said detectives are looking for a pair of home invaders who viciously beat and robbed a university place woman earlier this week. It says here, is that the supposed to be art? Debbie Harry butchers a model of herself in the name of creativity. That's right. Pretty crazy stuff there. Look at that. So that's art. Really, really nice. Beautiful. Society, guys. Science panel, get ready for extreme weather, they say. So the experts say get ready for extreme weather, but it says here that natural variability to dominate weather events over the coming years. So according to a report, it says here there will be no detectable influence of mankind's influence on the Earth's weather system for at least 30 years, and possibly not until the end of this century. Great. So that's a good way to just basically bypass any facts whatsoever to the theory of anthropogenic global. Himalayan nations agree on climate adaptation plan. That's right. So they're going to get together, get a carbon tax or something. But look at this. Glacier alarm, regrettable error. UN climate head talking about the Himalayan glaciers. EU bans claim that water can prevent dehydration. That's right. Bureaucrats were ridiculed yesterday after banning drink manufacturers from claiming that water can prevent dehydration. So even though there's an article by the BBC saying that the fog is rolling in and the snow is coming, winter's here, autumn's birds delay migration due to climate change. Climate change makes birds shrink in North America. Climate change actually boosts human evolution as it forces us to move through new areas and work together. No let up in greenhouse gas rises. So What is the number one greenhouse gas? Oh, it's water vapor. Yes, actually over 95%, whereas CO2 is about 1%. But the numbers change depending on what source you use. Maryville High School could get a wind turbine solar panels. Great! The turbines were turned off because of high winds and make them too noisy for nearby residents. Oh yeah, did I mention they're probably going to be made in China? Thank you.